My name when I was born was different to the name I've got now because my mum was a single parent in the 60s in Liverpool, and she was put in a sort of prison for unmarried mothers, and then 6 months later I was adopted, so I was actually born in prison. I grew up in a place called Bark Road in Liverpool. You know, it's a poor place, and so there were 7 of us in a 3-bedroomed house with an outside loo, no central heating. We didn't have gas. My adopted mother, she died when I was 4, but when I went to school, all the other kids on the street turned left to go to the Protestant school. I turned right. So if I didn't get home faster than them, they'd pick on me because I was different. Like for me, I learnt to fight. Actually, I learnt to run first, then I learnt to fight. Like when I was 8 at school, I took a penknife into school with me and I stabbed one of the lads. I was only messing about, but you know, I'm 8 years of age and I've stabbed someone. And so as I grew up in Liverpool in the 70s, that gang culture was there. You had gangs like State 20 and Tin Town and all these others. And in a world where there's 40% of people not got toilets, I'm grateful for being born in Liverpool. I'm grateful that I lived where I lived. I'm grateful for being here where I am today. Every breath is a gift from God, and so it's important to be grateful. I realised Eamon's way didn't work, and so I had to come to a point where I thought there's got to be something more than this. And for me, I cried out to the unknown God. I just said, God, if you're there, I want to know. But I meet people sometimes say, oh, well, you know, I was born an addict. I said, well, I was born angry. But how I act on that is up to me. In the late 80s, I got involved in a festival called Harry, and I got involved in the rave tent. And from that, I spent the next 10 years working. Every week I'd be at a different festival, which was 1989, loads of whistles, smiley T-shirts and headscarves. So we'd work from 6 in the morning preparing stuff till midnight. I was getting about 3 hours sleep a day for 2 weeks. So by the end of it, my eyes would be so zombied that I looked like I was taking drugs even when I wasn't. Around about that time, we went to Nepal. I had an old library bus myself, and it was me and Amelia were heading. I knew there was the rhododendron forest there, and the trees are 200 foot high, and when they're in flower, to go and see all these rhododendrons in the middle of nowhere in flower, like to me that's like quite a cool thing to do. I work now with people in addiction, and I house I've got a dozen flats in the local area that I house people who've had crack cocaine addictions. They've had other sort of chemical addiction. Because of my experience, I was given the job to set up the new hostels and set up best practice. And we moved down here and we bought a deposit on it got us a deposit on a house here. And then I filled it full of waifs and strays. And then I got attacked at work. There's a book called The Purpose-Driven Life, written by a guy called Rick Warren. And that talks about why are we here, what are we here for, where are we going. And he makes the point that when we go into eternity, we're not going to take cash or career, we're going to take our character. And so who I am today has been influenced by who I was and those around me, who they were, and how I've chosen. So that's me.